So here's a fascinating story for all you silly, goofy little bisexuals out there. This is from Pink News. New research finds bisexual genes for first time, and they are reproductively advantageous. The University of Michigan-led study, which was published on Wednesday, 3rd of January, in Science Advances, analyzed data from more than 450,000 people in the UK's biobank database of genetic and health information. As part of the research, participants responded to a questionnaire which included a question about whether they are a risk taker. The analysis reveals heterosexual males who have genetic variants associated with bisexual behavior, known as BSB associated alleles, have more children, whilst those who say they take part in risk taking behaviors have more children than average and have an increased likelihood of carrying the BSB associated alleles. The study's senior author, evolutionary biologist Zhangji Zhang, said our results suggest that male BSB-associated alleles are likely reproductively advantageous, which may explain their past persistence and predict their future maintenance. Zhang added these results also suggest that risk-taking behavior is the underlying cause of BSB-associated alleles promotion of reproduction in heterosexuals. Nature is complicated, Zhang continued. Here we're talking about three traits: number of children, risk-taking, and bisexual behavior. They all share some genetic underpinning. Okay, so that's very interesting. So the particular genetic sequence or alleles associated with bisexual behavior are also associated with increased number of offspring and more risk-taking behavior. And this, I suppose, could be a potential explanation for how bisexuality is passed down generation to generation, or why it's passed down, rather. It provides an advantage, because if you're going to have more children, or if you're going to take more risks, say, that could allow you to discover things that could help you survive. And also, if you're going to have more children, then you're going to pass your genes on more. And obviously that's, I think, how fitness is thought of in evolutionary terms. So I'm not a biologist, but I do find stories like this very fascinating, because they're attempting to understand how different sexualities and also different gender identities came about, and the combination of, say, or the various natural forces, natural phenomenon that go into it, and then there's also various social aspects to these things as well. But I welcome scientists studying things like bisexuality and other LGBTQ identities more, because it really helps people to understand that, being bi, being gay, being trans, being non-binary, it's just another way of being, right? It's just a naturally occurring variation within the species. Now, I think it's quite possible that these variations could express themselves differently across cultures, because many people do express themselves differently across cultures. But the variations are sort of there in the human personality, if you will. Now, some people argue studies like this perpetuate the stereotype of bisexuals as like, super, super, super horny bastards. I don't really think that's a big issue here. We should obviously understand a couple things. One, which is just like, not all bisexuals are risk takers. Like, there can be bisexuals that are like risk avoidant to the point of like neurosis. So it's like whatever variation is in whatever variation occurs in a species, it doesn't mean all members of group X have this trait, or all members of group Y have that trait. So there's that. And then also, whenever you're reading scientific studies in the media, I think it's important to keep in mind that science doesn't prove things. Science uses the information that we as humans have at our disposal to come at, to create explanatory frameworks for how the world works, which is not a denigration of science at all. Science is a wonderful tool and a noble calling in my view. I am very pro-science. But it's important to remember that science isn't here to tell you something is 100% objectively true. Science is here to say, well, here's a very plausible explanation for X. Anyway, that's just a little rant, because people, the media misunderstands science, and then people who consume the media misunderstand science, and then you have people claiming certain things about the world, and it's like, well, that's this might be a hypothesis, or that might be slightly less nuanced than what the scientists said, yada yada. But in the end, like I said, very interesting study. Sexuality is a very difficult topic for biologists. Like, how did sex evolve, for example? That's still an ongoing debate. And I'm sure with humans it's much more complicated, just because we're such more complicated creatures. But I'm happy these researchers are doing what they're doing, and I look forward to more studies like this, more information like this in the future, to help people understand that bisexuality and other forms of LGBTQ identities are just different aspects of or different traits that can occur within the species. Thank you.